Welcome to Linux Out Loud, where we talk about Linux, open source, and the little projects that somehow turn into extra credit assignments. I'm Bill, hosting this back to school edition of the show, and joining me are Nate, who probably brought a label binder full of home lab diagrams. Wait, that's my thing to do. And Wendy, who has already upgraded the classroom computers before the bell rang. This episode, we're sharpening our pencils, booting our laptops, and comparing notes on Linux projects, hardware experiments, and open source rabbit holes keeping us busy this fall. Been a little bit since I got to be on with everybody, and I'm really glad to be here. So, Wendy, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So last time we were chatting, we were talking about the fact that I was having some issues with my straight Fedora install, and you suggested Ultramarine. And I was like, okay, sounds kind of cool, right? I'll go check it out. It's based on Fedora, and one of the coolest things about it is it had a script that you could run, and I pulled it up and looked at it. So you could convert your current Fedora install into an Ultramarine install. It went perfectly smooth on both the desktop and my mobile workstation. So that's actually what I've been running since we recorded the very last episode of the show. And I have to say, it's running pretty gosh dang good. I think there's been a few hiccups here and there, but for the most part, like nothing more than your average day-to-day happenstance as you're going through computer stuff. So it's running pretty good. I would like to do my own version of how to get DaVinci up and running on this system. It's going to be with Nvidia because that's what I'm running. But the kids out there are running an AMD system. So I might try to throw up a video, maybe two videos on Linux Out Loud as kind of an in-between episodes on how to get that running if you're interested in using DaVinci Resolve on Linux. Because of the way the installer works, there are a couple hoops you have to jump through just in case people are interested. I know it comes across on a fairly regular basis as to like how to get that fully up and running.
Their Discord is pretty active too. The people over at Fear Labs and Fear Stack have really poured a lot of resources and energy into making a very beautiful and functional distro. So maybe hop on their Discord and ask a question and just say, hey, I'm, Wendy from Linux Out Loud, and Bill told me to stop by here and rattle your cage about getting things working in NVIDIA. Please don't make him show up in Chicago. You don't want that. I will eat all of the nuts on Clark that I can possibly find there.
So getting it running on NVIDIA is actually easier than getting it running on DaVinci in general, than getting it running on AMD. Though there was a couple issues in getting Ultramarine up and running, even on my daughter's new desktop build, because it's an NVIDIA graphics card. So it was doing weird, like glitchy issues and stuff when we first booted it up. Yeah, graphics in general are still a problem. I would have to say that's still my current biggest complaint in Linux is sometimes graphics can be a pain on first install. But once you're through the initial install, you get through that, then it's pretty good.
So I put something in your show notes section. I don't know if you saw that, with a check this out and kind of a minus greater than symbol, like the arrow to point. So there's a GitHub. This is something I stumbled on. I think it was because of Linux Saloon that I came upon this, maybe, or maybe it was because of Michael Tunnell I came upon this. I don't know.
Somebody like that.
Maybe it was a combination of the two. Either way, this came to mind when you brought that up. There's something called a DaVinciBox. I think it's called DaVinciBox, and it's a go run, ready to run way to run DaVinci Resolve in a container using Podman on your system. And then now that does not solve your NVIDIA issues, and
right.
But I would try this.
It does solve the AMD issues, and AMD is definitely harder to get DaVinci running on. 100%.
I'm not going to say it solves anything. I'm saying it might get you closer to a solution, because I don't want to be, if you run into problems, I don't be like, oh, that that cubicle Nate, he sold me a line of what's it that's not working for me. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought you might want to try
An
that out. That
option
might be a
that's there.
solution.
It looks like
Yeah.
it's really good if you're on any of those I can't remember what they're called. Immutable distributions. Like that's
all the rage now.
All the rage now.
I'm not running one, but it's definitely in the news quite a bit.
Wait a minute, I got another pun here.
Ooh,
it's
yes.
all the beige rage.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Then it's at Nate's house.
I love
Mr.
Beige
and his collection of beige stuff. It's all the beige rage right now.
All the beige
Yes,
so if
rage.
I tell him that beige is bad, does that make it beige rage bait?
Yes.
I don't think it'd be rage. Wait a minute. It depends on the kind of rage. Like, if it's not
so if he's telling you beige is bad, that would be
I see
rage.
But I thought you were saying bad because you're saying rage and bad. I went back to the 80s and like, oh, that is bad, like bad to the bone, bad, not as in bad as in it smells
take
like
it one step further. I'm going to help you out here. I'm going to help you finish it out. I'll help you finish it out here. I got you. Hold my beverage. It's going to be beige rage against the machine when it breaks.
But see, I like that though. So that actually works well for me.
So
you're welcome then. There's my contribution to the show. I can put my headset down now.
All right. Well, thanks for joining.
I've liked Ultramarine so much that it actually went on the camp laptops this year. So they were all currently running Zorin in the past. And I went to just do an update and all of that stuff. And there was issues with the updates and they were failing. And so I was like, forget it. And I just threw Ultramarine on all of them and got it running pretty good. As another update aside that I didn't throw in the show notes here, I did a lot of talking about browsers on the last episode. And there were some comments, mostly in our Discord, about there is a better way to use Brave, and it's the Brave Origin, which BitShady was mentioning that, hey, that's one of the Chrome-based browsers that he uses. It's nice because it's got some of that other maybe kind of sketchy stuff that they were doing stripped out of it. And I am running that currently as my Chrome base. So Video Ninja, which is what we're still using to record the show, has to be run through a Chrome-based browser. And right now I'm running it through Brave Origin as the distro. So I'll also drop that information down in the show notes for you guys to check out as well.
Not to do another one of these to you, Wendy, but I just did. Try this one out.
Okay, what is this?
It's a Helium browser. It's kind of in early stages. I kind of like it. I'm not even sure why. It's just an app image you can download and try out. Not sure if that's your bag, but it's another one. It's a de-Googled Chromium base that seems to work pretty well.
Okay.
So I started using this because I'm having such trouble with Edge, the Edge browser, and not just in Linux but in Windows also. It's actually been like I don't want to dog on Microsoft, but you guys just can't do browsers. Like, you are so bad at doing browsers. You should just go ahead and just
even when you're putting a wrapper on somebody else's browser.
Yeah. So like in Windows, the font rendering is so, there's a word that I can't, crappy.
There you go.
In Windows 11, the font rendering is terrible. It is so terrible. In Linux, the font rendering is good, but it does other weird things. And so periodically I have to like clear the browser out and like reset the browser for it to behave again. And it's about every time you get the notice of, hey, we updated your browser, you're going to have problems for a little while. I don't know what it is they're doing there at Microsoft. I don't know if like maybe they fired too many actual developers and are using Copilot for everything, but they've really like, oh my gosh, they need to quit. Whatever they're doing, they need to stop.
We're going about it wrong.
How do you fix it?
How do you fix it? Text-based web browsers.
W3M. Or wait, W3M? That's the one I used?
Links,
okay.
Links the browser.
All right. Anyway, I kind of like the text-based is cool on a Commodore 64, but on another browser, on other machines, not quite as.
Let me ask you a question. Maybe this is something worth exploring later on, but how much of your work could you do in Firefox versus a Chrome-based browser? And what sorts of issues do you run into your job when you're trying to use Firefox, let's say, as your daily driver?
For me, I can do use Firefox for everything. In fact, Firefox works better than Edge in every case. Like there's not a single case, except for when we do video stuff like this.
Right.
Everything from if I have to use Ring Central, like if I'm communicating with some client, some like our MSP whatever that we're using for like cybersecurity stuff, they use Ring Central. Can't use an Edge. Edge just falls on its face. So it's got to be Firefox is what I use for that. In fact, when using like Ninja RMM, Chrome, Edge falls on its face for that one too, quite a bit, which has been really aggravating. So I've been using, actually, I put together like a web app type thing for the Ninja RMM stuff, and I just started migrating some more things over there. I think what I need to do actually is probably set up because I like the idea of synchronizing my browser. Like I was using Edge because I could synchronize between like my mobile and my Windows PC and my Linux PC and my other Linux PC and my other Linux PC. So it's mostly Linux, but also Windows. And so it's nice for that, all my work stuff in Edge, but just the impooification of Edge has just been so, like, it's just been, I've never seen something degrade so fast in my life, any software. Like I've never seen this before. Like the XP to Vista is not as bad as what Edge is doing right now. And it's not just on Linux, it's on everything I'm touching. It's terrible on mobile now. Just in general. And I don't know what's going on. Just stop. They just need to stop. Whatever they do, just stop. Wind it back.
Yeah, and it's been a long time since I've had to use Edge, so it's not something that I'm quite familiar with. I know I can do 99.99% of my stuff in Firefox, or now Firefox based. My daily driver is still Zen. I still love it. Mm-hmm. And in the beta version right now, they're getting it to where workspaces, there we go, will sync between. And once I have that, it'll literally be perfect. It'll be absolutely perfect. So yeah, I can't say much. There are things like this that you have to use a Chrome base for, or Pybrix has to use a Chrome base because of the Bluetooth connectivity and stuff that Firefox doesn't have. They said they won't ever have for their privacy and security stuff inside the browser. So there's certain things that Chrome base has to be used for, but
so this is one of those things like I'm okay with now, because what I do is I set up, like, if I need Chrome for a specific function, I actually create like a Chrome web app thing, like using quick web apps, just for whatever that is. So like, and then to me that's it. I just use it like an application, but not for as a web browser, if that makes any sense.
So this currently Video Ninja is pulled out as a web app. So I've got it installed as a web app. I do the same thing for Pybrix. So one of the teachers, she's just started at a new school, and I went through her Linux laptop that she's using. So it was a set of the laptops that Bill gave me. I have now donated to her for her classroom use. They are, of course, running Linux, and she's going to be using them with her Spike Prime robots. And so I have Pybrix installed also as a web app that's down in the bar, so the students can just click on it and launch the application.
I just love that those laptops got a third home, and that someone was still able to use them. It's the ultimate act of preventing e-waste. And to me, that's just the coolest thing that you're able to do that. Now, what's interesting about the browser thing is that I have to use Edge at work all day. I don't have any issues with it.
On anything.
I wonder if it's how Nate's using it, or the apps he's using, or the websites you're using.
Maybe I'm just holding it wrong. Let's go with that.
Maybe.
You have to hold it by the middle, not by the edge.
No, but so literally, like, because I use Bitwarden in Edge with my, because we use that. So I will click on the Bitwarden. And then it'll come down, and then when I click on what I want, it just goes away. I click on it again, drops down, goes away. And then also favorites. I'll click on the favorites, it'll drop down, and it'll just go away. And so I periodically have to wipe Edge entirely on Linux for it to stop doing that. Pretty much after every update, every Edge update.
Make sure that you're
Wow.
running the beta channel and not. Oh no, I'm sorry. Make sure you're running the stable channel. And I use mine in a flat pack, and I don't have any problems with it.
I'm using the Flatpak, and I'm using the stable channel.
And still having issues.
Yep. I'm using branch stable, Arch x86-64 as a Flatpak. Because I was having problems with the official Microsoft repo version as well. That one would actually change the color of the menus to red with a really with a red background with red text, and so I stopped using that one. And I can't fix
yeah, that would not be so fun.
And I can't fix the font rendering in Edge on Windows. So I don't know what the deal is going on over there. It's a fresh install of Windows. It's it's got all the whiz-bangetry on it, and just the font rendering is terrible, and people don't like it at work. So I don't know. Maybe I'm holding it wrong. Maybe everything I'm doing is just wrong, and the problem is me.
Edge does not like Nate.
Though I was an advocate for Edge. I was like, Edge is great. I was using it for several years, and it works great on Linux. And it made my work life very simple because I could unify all my work stuff separate and segregated away from
right. Yeah.
And then now it decided just to kick me right in the jimmy, I guess.
Something that isn't doing that though is Tumbleweed. You've got hybrid atomic going on.
Yes. So speaking of the whole immutable thing, I like the idea of immutable. I like the way updates are delivered in immutable distributions. To me, I think it's a very clean, just reliable way to deliver software in Linux. And I really appreciate the just how that all works, how it's been working for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have a 1X player that I got from somebody here that's not here today, and that's what I've been using on it. I've had other than some Bazitism issues, pretty much it's been problem free. And as far as updates are concerned, and I like it. I'm very happy with it. The issue is I'm not happy with it. Sorry, I'm not happy with it on like my laptop, because I need some room to play in my laptop. But I still like that application delivery mechanism. So what I did was, and I have an article I wrote on cubiclate.com if you want to check that out. But it's as a hybrid atomic update with openSUSE. Now I'm probably pushing a little bit when I say hybrid atomic. It's atomic in the sense of the delivery mechanism happens in the background, and then the updates are done on reboot. That's what I mean by that. So it's not really, it's not necessarily, but it's not immutable. So but it's kind of not really atomic either. So what happens is, Fedora does this as well. But what's neat about Tumbleweed specifically, specifically openSUSE Tumbleweed, is that because of the snapshotting system in openSUSE Tumbleweed, it can pull those updates down. And then if, let's say, those updates fail, it will not boot into that update in Tumbleweed. And so you go back in the old one, and you'll be told, hey, those updates failed. You can repair the system, or you can try again, whatever. And also, if let's say you reboot into it and something's screwy with it, you can roll back to the previous. So you kind of have the benefits of the hybrid that you would have with a immutable, but you have the flexibility of a traditionally delivered Linux product, whatever, like we've had for the last 30 years. And so it's a nice compromise between the two. And then Plasma has it's really neat how it handles this. You can have it automatically apply those updates, like pull those updates down. You don't have to do anything. It'll take care of that. I have it do it once weekly, and so now I'm not bothered by updates needing to be done or whatever. It does that, and then it'll notify me. Usually like on a weekend or something, or sometimes on a Friday, whatever. And then I can click on that, reboot into the latest snapshot, and then I'm off to the races. And so pretty much all the now I like the terminal too, and sometimes I still like to use the terminal to update Tumbleweed because I don't want to lose the nerdy aspect of it. Or if maybe I'm doing some changes and I need whatever, I'll just freshen it up before I start. Then I'll do it. But for the most part, I'm not even dealing with updates anymore. It's all happening in the background. And I need to caveat on that. There is another article about using the wheel group to simplify admin tasks as well. I did do some updates to that to reflect changes in handling printers, the fact that Yast is kind of being taken, like slowly being deprecated away out of Tumbleweed. So I did that as well. So between that, kind of going to the Ubuntu style of, where you as a user have sudo power. In Fedora and in openSUSE, they use the wheel group instead of the sudo group for handling that. And there's a package in openSUSE Tumbleweed. You can add that to make doing those admin tasks a lot simpler. It's actually a lot easier also too on the VMs that I've launched at work that are running openSUSE. So like the other IT guy, there's only one other IT guy. So so it's the same workflow from the Ubuntu, Debian, and openSUSE. They're all kind of the same. You punch it, you put in your password. So anyway, that combined with the atomic updates, that's what those really should be. Are kind of semi-related. It's actually made openSUSE. I think it should be the default for openSUSE. It's made it a lot more user-friendly to use, and then it's kind of taken a lot of the rough edges out of it as well. Which aren't a problem for me because I grew up in on the Commodore 64, Amiga, DOS, Windows, and then running away after '98. But anyway, so it's made it a lot smoother to use. So at this point, I would almost say because it's hybrid atomic and it's not immutable, but it's like the hybrid atomic. It's when configured like this, I would say it's on par with my experience in using something else. And I'm actually now considering replacing some of my Bazite systems that I have with Tumbleweed with this mechanism because it's that reliable.
If I may ask, are you using something like Snapper and Snapper Rollback to kind of control and interface some of that? I know that's a very powerful utility in openSUSE. One of the best things about it is that Snapper capability with BTRFS.
Well, so yes, but I don't really have to do anything to terminal on that. So right when it boots up, it's using a system deboot now. It's an option to go to the previous snapshot, also to go to a different kernel as well. So I can, if it does fail, which I have not had to actually roll back at this point yet, but it's only been like 6 weeks I've been doing this or so, 5 or 6 weeks. So it's not been an issue, but I could just roll like reboot and then go into an older snapshot if the update was successful, but the software was wonky. I could do that. And I wouldn't really have to roll back. I could just go to the read-only snapshot, and then presumably it would still be able to load in those updates, and then you could reboot into doing updates then on top of that. I have not actually tested that out yet, but I'm assuming that would, because it all happens at the reboot cycle. It doesn't happen while you're on the running system. It happens on the rebooting when you reboot. Then you're not going to have as much of a problem. And I would say the only thing I kind of don't like about it is it says, it goes to a screen and does like the progress bar of doing updates. And that kind of reminds me a little bit too much of Windows. And that does kind of bother me, except instead of like being stuck at like 10% for like hours, it's a reasonable cadence. It
doesn't take it very long. At least it doesn't on Fedora anyway. It never has. It seems to roll through them pretty good once you do that.
But it is creating those snapshots when it does that. So anyway, works beautifully. I'm very happy with it. I don't know how they made all this work so well, but I do have a little bit of that information of how those update mechanisms actually work, and
nice.
But not in total. And then you can also see my silly screen setup on there as well. So anyway, so that's what's going on. Super happy with how just my life in Tumbleweed's been lately. Like it's more like a product, less like a hobby distro. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
A little bit sad because it does kind of take away from some of the. And actually, no, it doesn't, because I need to work on it all the time now. I'm happy with this. I want to keep going down this path. That's good.
And plus, on top of that, Linux Saloon gives you plenty of things to tinker with each week. So you've got plenty of tinker things. Yeah.
There's always something to tinker with. And the nice thing too is with Tumbleweed, I can tinker and mess with things, and I can just roll back if they're like, no, I think everything I did here was a bad idea. I can just pretend like it never even happened.
That is nice.
So speaking of pretending like it never even happened, you actually had a vacation, Bill?
Believe it or not, yes. I've had a couple things going on since I last chatted with you guys. So in the middle of July, I changed jobs. And I am now doing more kind of executive operational management stuff and less hands-on tech, which I'm actually okay with because I don't know how much longer I really could be flying on planes and slinging equipment around and running up and down ladders and stairs. I have some aftermarket parts in one of my legs, and that just doesn't work. So,
are you missing the back to school craziness that you would normally have this time of year with your job?
No. I'm just going to leave it at that. I do not miss that at all. I have no regrets about it. It was an incredible experience.
Awesome.
I'm really glad I did it. I got to do some really neat technology projects. I got to help kids along the way. It was extremely rewarding, but every chapter has to close at some point, and it was time for this particular one to close and to start a new one. So what I did is I took a 2-week vacation to the beautiful Pacific Northwest in between the jobs so that I would just be able to kind of clear my headspace a bit. And I absolutely had a great time. I met up with a fellow listener and supporter of our show up in Vancouver for breakfast one morning. Had a great time with him and ate a lot of good food. Did some neat thing.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the food. Hang on one second. What did you
I can tell you what I had. I had a salmon eggs Benedict, and it was one of the best I've ever had. So
I've never had salmon eggs Benedict, but I've had salmon, I've had eggs Benedict, but never the two together.
You're missing out.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm sorry. Keep going. I don't want to go too. I don't derail.
No, it's great. So I got to spend some time up in the San Juan Islands, which is a beautiful part of Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to kind of move inward a little bit inland and do some overland excursions with my family, but unfortunately the wildfire situation in central and eastern Washington was not working out to our favor. So
it's been rough in the West in general. Like it's been rough.
Yeah, some of the air quality indices that I've seen did not look to be very good for anybody in the northwest part of our country, and I just really hope that things clear out for them sooner than later and everybody there can rebuild and get back to life.
Thankfully, we've got some rain, and so that's knocked all the smoke out of the air for now. Like, it's. I already knew at the beginning of this year it was going to be a rough fire season for the West, and it has been. Yeah, it has been.
I actually could see the fires as we were coming in from where we had to change planes. We're coming into SeaTac Airport. You can see the fires on the ground burning in the Cascade Mountains. And it was just really kind of heartbreaking to see such a beautiful piece of the country get leveled like that. So thinking of everybody out there and hoping they can rebuild soon. But no, otherwise it was a pretty restful vacation. And now I'm, starting the new job and kind of learning what I need to do and not do, and learn the people that I'm managing and taking care of, and trying to just kind of put the pieces together as I go. It's going to be more of a figure it out and write the book as you go. There's no book to really start from, so to speak.
You have a basis if there was some existing systems, but yeah, it's a completely new go.
Exactly. So that's what I've been doing. And part of what I've been researching are ways that I can implement open source and Linux-based solutions. And I actually stumbled across kind of a neat little project called FleetDM. And what this is it's a way of doing device management, patching, management, a few other little odds and ends. So kind of a piece of what like a Ninja RMM would do, but this is completely open source. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, can I take like what a Ninja RMM does, which is really comprehensive with a help desk and knowledge base and patch management and device monitoring, and how can I plug these little different holes and then maybe get some help through some friends that do coding to bring that data all together using Prometheus or Grafana or something like that. So this is going to be something I kind of tinker with, and maybe in a future show, I'll let you guys know how it goes. But Nate, I think this would be really interesting for you to check out too. I can see your gears are already turning there a little bit. So,
because Nate already manages lots of different devices for employees and stuff, and so that's what you're going to be mostly using this for, is the employee device,
correct,
management kind of thing. Yeah.
How does this compare to like Mesh Central? Because looking at Mesh Central as well, I haven't committed to anything, but this FleetDM, the interface looks a little bit slicker than Mesh Central. But I'm wondering how feature per feature, how that compares.
They have a free solution. They have a paid solution too. So I feel like paid solution's not the worst thing in the world, especially. See, I'm a big proponent of, if you're going to offer something for free to the community and a paid version, on the commercial side, I will always lean towards the paid version so that I can continue to support that company's development, growth,
Right.
get support, and sometimes even help with beta testing new functions and releases as they come out. So this seems to be within reason of what I have found from pricing of other systems.
It really doesn't look bad it kind of depends on how many devices you end up with as far as what that overall cost is going to be, but
we also have a lot
it doesn't
of,
look bad.
one of the sites that I'm taking care of has a lot of tablets that they use, and they're running around with these tablets all day, every day. And we're looking at moving away from the Apple tablets and towards Android tablets. And so something that
I can tell you that's been great for me.
Well, I know from having managed both iOS and Android tablets that the setup with Apple Business Manager is very difficult and convoluted, whereas for Google and Android, it's extremely straightforward. And so I had said to the IT person there, might want to check this out. The cost savings versus the time, or maybe the additional cost of what you're paying versus something else, is not worth the time that you're spending trying to manage these Apple devices that fall off, or you forget to renew that push certificate, and then none of your devices are manageable after that. I've run into that before.
Ew.
So the Android thing just kind of works. And so I'm going to maybe give this a try with a small set of tablets. I have some extras kicking around here that I can check out and see if they play nice. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, heck yeah. I know my husband, for his job, they also use Apple tablets, and he hates it with a passion. The things Magneto says about his tablet are quite colorful.
You would have to probably put a whole minute of hold music on our show to describe his words, what he feels about those devices. And I know from talking to him personally what his thoughts are on that. So we'll just leave it at that.
100%.
So I'm looking at this, and the only thing, like, it doesn't have a full GUI remote desktop system like Mesh Central or Ninja does. It's good for fleet management, but it doesn't have that one little bit. I don't know. I have to look into this more.
It looks like it has a GUI to management because you're able to deploy software through it, just selecting the software packages you want.
So that, yes. What I mean is, like, let's say someone needs like desktop support. I need to help them walk through something.
No, that it's not going to have. But there's other options out there like RustDesk and AnyDesk that you can self-host. Or even Apache Guacamole is a nice option. You can self-host that too. And that will give you remote access to devices.
That's true.
That's why I'm saying I'm trying to look at some of these different pieces and parts of systems out there, and maybe there's some way to assemble a way to get data and tables from one side to another and APIs in between. I don't know. I'm not a coder, so I don't know what that's going to look like just yet.
So speaking of remote access, what is the best way to do that, like on a small scale? So I can't remember what I've used in the past on my in-laws' desktop, but I need to get something set up on their desktop again for when they run into issues. Because they try to describe them to me, but it's always like reading the wrong things, and it's just easier if I can jump in there. So what do you suggest for something like that?
On the open source side, RustDesk is not a bad option.
Okay.
But it has to live somewhere. So the server side has to live on a container, or, I mean, you can run it on a Pi, you can run it on anything. But that's the brain that allows all the devices to connect inbound, and then you connect inbound to that as well. So they establish a session saying, hey, help me, and then you join their session. There are other paid options like TeamViewer, but then you can get TeamViewer free for personal use, but I'm not really a fan of TeamViewer.
And that's what I think I've used in the past, was TeamViewer in the past on their system. And I want something for the most part that doesn't auto start. And I think I turned that off so it didn't auto start and I could just have them launch it when I needed it, because I don't want something that's eating resources that doesn't need to be eaten. It's one of the things I don't like about Windows, right? Is it eats resources really bad. So I don't want to do that even on their Linux system. But if there's an issue, I need to be able to say, click on this, let me in, and good to go. It has to be very, very simple, very straightforward in talking them through how to start that session so I can fix whatever needs to be fixed, jump through the whatever windows, and then go again.
You can also use Apache Guacamole. It's pretty easy and straightforward, and you can access it just through a browser. That's what I like about it. You don't need to have a client on your system to access it.
Oh, okay.
So it's just HTML5. That's all you're doing.
It uses VNC or RDP to handle that end. So that's what it uses.
But Plasma has RDP capability.
It does.
Right.
In fact, I tested that using, because Mesh Central uses a similar method as Apache Guacamole. So
I'll have to play with those.
Yeah. I would say, as far as like drop-in, easy to use RustDesk, you don't actually have to run your own server. You'd have to create an account with them if you're going to do something, because for security reasons they've done that, because people have been abusing it. But as people, there's always dirtbags always abuse the good stuff. So ruin the toys for everybody. Anyway, but RustDesk works very well. It's very reliable. It works with Wayland, no problem. Well, you do have to have someone on the other end. It can't do completely unattended at this point. But I think,
yeah, they've got a big old disclaimer right on top. So,
but it does work. So, Mesh Central uses the KRDP if you have Plasma, and that as the back end, and that does work. The only issue I have with remoting into a Plasma system with RDP is you'll get some crazy like line business going on the bottom, like it's like some weird like pixels out of place. So it's not a huge deal.
Obviously, I'm Plasma right now. They're running Zorin, so
yeah, it should be fine. I do know that I think either 6.8, they're going to have a lot of that RDP stuff worked out as far as in Plasma, like actually smoothed out.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I think I can't, but the thing I can't recall though is if Mesh Central or Apache, if they do like because with RDP, if you RDP into something, it locks the other person out and they can't see what you're doing. But I think I want to say with what Mesh Central and Apache Guacamole do, they don't do that, or
Apache Guacamole is more of a shared session where you're working alongside the person as if you were sitting in front of them.
I think Mesh Central is the same way, because there's things that happen when you do that. So anyway, but those are good solutions too. And the only thing that's been hanging me up a little bit for actually launching the Mesh Central is where to host it. I have the hosting space. I'm not sure if I want to do it this way right now or not. I have to. That's the part my hang up right now, is because once I start using it, I gotta maintain that same address point for it to come back to. Otherwise, I gotta redeploy these things. FleetDM, pretty cool. I think the automation tools in that are way more advanced than Mesh Central. So I think it depends, I guess, what your goals are on that.
Where you're managing a real fleet of machines now across a couple of locations, you are a real good use case to see if this would be functional or not.
So I mean, because it's literally designed for 10 to 100,000 hosts. That's the kind of fleet it's designed for. Well, Mesh Central's more like thousands.
1 billion machines.
Oh, exactly. Well, I'm excited to see what you come up with. That's you gave me a lot to think about in a very short order.
I have a habit of doing this to you. I send you down rabbit holes.
Every single time. Yeah, every single time, I swear.
I think I've sent you down a few rabbit holes.
From Star Trek The Next Generation. I just come on as a pure distraction.
You do. You're gonna send me to Nottingham? That'd be more like Worf in that one. I am not a merry man. I protest. Anyway, I do have something I want to ask you related to this, Bill.
Okay.
So, since you're getting to some MSP work, you said no details, and I get it, none of those. And I'm not going to really get into details either, but here's the thing. I don't know if either of you two have this issue, but do you have it where people were somehow like, oh, computers, can you help out with this? And then it kind of becomes, I don't want to say annoying, but like there's because I've grown so accustomed to utilizing enterprise tools lately. It's like, golly, I really don't want to help you unless I have these tools now. Do you think something like FleetDM or Mesh Central or Tactical RMM, whatever, there's another one here I just saw pop up now because of you, Bill, that I have to now look at. Yeah, Tactical RMM. Thanks, Bill. That one's your fault too. Tangentially. So do you think there's any benefit in, let's say, putting one of those agents on someone who they're like friends of yours, maybe through some other organization, church group or whatever, that might be a good idea to like, just so you can say, hey, well, your problem is you're not doing updates there, buddy, or whatever, or got to make sure this or that, the other thing. Do you think there's any benefit in that, or do you think just like totally back off? Once you've put the new hard drive and reinstalled their operating system, just kind of walk away, do the Homer Simpson in the bush thing?
That's a hard question. I think it's case by case and what your comfort level is, because what I always tell people in the IT business as a trade is that you can and will get burned out at some point. Make sure you're balancing your time really well and don't fall into the helpful trap. It's really easy to do that. I'll just give you a hand, or I'll just take care of this. We'll take care of that, or it'll be a one-off thing. And then you find out it's not. And then you own it. So I'm shying away from that for a while, just because I've had so much of managed IT over the past 20 years that I could just use the break. I'm going to take back some of my time, to be quite honest.
And the reason I ask that is because no matter what, I do end up helping people no matter what, like through church or whatever, because it's like, I just do. And so the question is, do I take it to one level further and make it more convenient for me to help them when they do ask for help in those occasions?
The question is, do you want to feel like you're helping them, or do you want to feel like you're at work?
Okay, so even when I'm not at work, I still play with work. So like even like when I go on vacation, I'm like, oh, I have this thought, and so it might be work related. So I don't know that I am the right person to ask that question, because I don't have a good work-life balance, because in many ways the overlap of personal and work, just because of the nature of what I do at work, is a lot of the same sort of experimentation that I do for personal, but it's with an enterprise bend to it. So that's not a very good
the current season of life you are in means that your job and your interests are currently overlapping.
Yes. And there's a concern about burnout there. But then I have my chickens, which I'm at the county fair this week. So I literally just came back from there to be here with you. So
oh, thank you.
Well, I like you guys. So, I'm sorry, was that offensive? I like you too.
Matt's not here to get offended. Don't worry about it.
That's true. Yeah. So anyway, so that, I guess that's to me my balance. Like I have my non-technical stuff, my technical stuff, but right now my technical stuff is bleeding into my non-technical, because I'm trying to automate more things in my chicken coop when I build especially as I'm building the new poultry palace. So there's these things too that are kind of like, I'm trying to have a healthy balance of all aspects of interests, and whether it be technical or not, in such a way that they're sustainable, is kind of what I'm more or less trying to find a sustainable level for all these different things. And looking at things like FleetDM or Mesh Central or Tactical RMM now, thanks, Bill. I'm wondering if maybe, do these things make things more sustainable where I can do those? Because sometimes if I can't do something, I just say, no, I can't do it. Or I'll get to it when I can get to it. But like, I have a soldering project I haven't quite finished yet for somebody, like they broke an antenna on a device. So I'll solder that, whatever, as soon as I get some space cleared off my lab again. And so I know I'm just trying to like understand, like thinking this out about what would be better for, I don't even know how to say, work balance or interest. I'm a
Comes
nerd.
down to something that my dad said to me many, many years ago when I was thinking about getting into technology as a career. He said, I don't know, really think hard about making your hobby your career. That way you don't end up hating it. I'm not saying I hate IT. Or even operations at this point. It's certainly intriguing, but I needed to take a step back from, day-to-day IT management to maybe someday appreciate it a little bit more.
That could be. I find there are aspects of IT or technology that if I'm kind of tired of it, I kind of shy away from it, or I find a replacement for it. That's more or less my
Yeah.
more or less my thing. And so, if, like, this is just not something I can sustain or continue to work on. I don't like this thing. This has to go with something else. And I think that's kind of been more or less my angle on that. Because I can't get away from driving a car. I can't get away from mowing my lawn. Actually, I can. I got some mowing for me. But there's certain things I just can't get away from. Somebody's got to scoop the poo out of the chicken coop. I can't get away from that either because of the other part of the hobby. So I guess that's the whole reason I put it out there. I'm not saying I have the right answer or balance, and I think it'd be good to maybe ask that question, to the broader Linux Out Loud crowd. What is that balance? Where is it that, if you're passionate about technology, but to what level? I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I get it. And there are some things that being my passion and then being a job didn't go great. And something that do. So I don't do commercial photography anymore. And one thing that I realized is I really, really enjoyed photography. I hated doing it for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Hated doing it for other people. But on the video editing side, I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy doing it for other people. So it kind of depends on what it is.
Except the pseudo
Photography.
show.
No, I still enjoy doing the pseudo show.
Okay.
And even though the last one was crazy and hectic, I still enjoy the show. I'm looking forward to the one that you're recording tomorrow. Double duty this week for you, LOL and pseudo show. But yeah, I definitely there are things that when they went from being a hobby, being something that I enjoyed, and then it becoming a job on top of it, that I was like, So part of the love of photography for me, especially tabletop, that kind of thing, was the creativity that I got to do with it. And then when I had all of these specific client specifications, it took the fun out of it for me, right? Because it was no longer this cool thing that I got to explore, and I was playing with the light and figuring out what I wanted. I still love the software. Darktable is amazing on Linux if you want to edit your images. Haven't talked about that in forever, so check it out. But that was one of the things that I still enjoy doing, but doing it as a job ever again, I don't think so, because I hate it as a job. So maybe it's one of those things that, as of right now, for you, that passion and that job position, this time of life, this season you are in your life, that it's great. And maybe later down the road, you decide, okay, that's no longer where I am. And so I have to step back of it as a hobby, or I need to change this as my career and keep it as the hobby. Whichever road you choose to go down, right, is there when you get to that why.
I'll give you an example of things I wouldn't want to do. I like the Home Assistant lights and setting up things, automations like that. I will never do that for somebody else, though, because it's very fiddly.
Right.
And there's things that are kind of weird about it at times. And so someone says, hey, could you do Christmas lights on my house? I'd be like, no. That's a lot of work. And the spirit's got to move me before I start doing more of that stuff. So, I am putting on a barn, but anyway.
Yeah, but you're doing that for you, and you can do it at your own pace. And if you run into issues, it's not a big deal because it's your house, right?
Right. But like as a client, I mean, you would have to pay me a lot of money to do it. I should say, I wouldn't do it. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to do it, and it may not be exactly what you want. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. That would not be something I'd want. I could find sustainable long term because of the amount of additional fiddly bits with it.
If you think about it, if you're doing a project like that, Home Assistant, a project you and I both love dearly, Nate. But imagine doing it as a business, and now you're getting calls at 9, 10 o'clock at night saying, I can't get my nighttime routine to start, and I need you to log in and diagnose it for me. For me, I would rather go and eat this remote control.
But it's interesting. It's an interesting thought. The whole thing. These thought bunny trails on where hobby and business, or what's a sustainable business, like where those lie, and so forth. And I'd be interested in hearing more from other people, like what hobby aspects would they like to do versus not. Like for me, I really like the idea of like setting up, helping somebody to set up like a some sort of like backup recovery system that they deal with, or helping somebody, maybe tighten up their cybersecurity, helping somebody, maybe improve some of their business workflows. That'd be one thing. Helping somebody do maybe the creative stuff. That's probably, for me, that's probably where I think maybe that's the delineation.
That's the bell for this back to school edition of Linux Out Loud. Before you pack up your gear, make sure your configs are backed up, your updates are tested, and your next project at least has a loose lesson plan. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend who still thinks Linux is too complicated, or who keeps trying to finish their homework 5 minutes before class.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
That's not a problem.
Nothing.
Everybody does that, right?
It's fine. It's
not
fine.
everybody.
Okay.
It's fine. Be fine. Subscribe so the next lesson lands automatically in your feed. And until next time, keep learning, keep tinkering, and try not to break production before recess.
Nate already did.
I did. Yeah. Actually, I broke some things recently, but we'll not talk about that.